my first pair of sneakers that like I really cared about, that I was like in love with, was the Air Jordan 12.
Your life, little girl, is an empty page that men will want to write on.
Y'all know if it's anything sneaker related, sports related, you know, your boys here at the Culture, KP, Mike the Expert, and Dre got you covered. But today, we got a very, very special guest, a sneaker legend. My guy has been in the game since day one. He's an enthusiast of all things Michigan sports. He's a great father. Of course, he is a writer and contributor to the Sneaker Box, as well as he's got the Sneaker Box podcast.
Perfect.
Officially, thank you for coming on, my man, Afrikan Ceasar. What's good, G?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. I appreciate
you having me on, man.
No, I appreciate y'all for reaching out and, inviting me on here. I love doing this type of stuff. I like engaging, like, and having conversations with people and whatever. And it's cool to have like sneakers be the catalyst for those types of conversations and for those connections. And so I love doing this type of stuff.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
man. I wanted to have you on because we connected when you came here to SneakerCon a couple years ago in Atlanta. This was a big SneakerCon. I remember they had a whole full court basketball, everything. It was crazy. You, Jumpman Bostic, Mike Compass, George Kill was there. My man from Full Size Run. It was a who's who. Mike Rich, T Ward. There's a lot of heavy hitters in there, and you were one of them, man. We had a great conversation. So I thought we'd bring you on and kind of dive into some things. So getting to it, man. You've been a collector, man. When did you really start getting into this game? What got you into the shoe collecting game? How did you get addicted like the rest of us?
You know what? I mean, growing up as a kid, I think my story is similar to a lot of other people's, where you fell in love with the shoe before you could afford it. And, watching shows, I want to say like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was between Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm going to give Kadeem Hardison his flowers too, because, when you talk about, people on television that used to wear sneakers, like, dude stayed J'd up. Like, he was always fresh. I can't think of an episode of A Different World that he didn't look dope.
He did.
And, and he was rocking the jerseys
Right.
with the sneakers. He was rocking, the warm-ups and all that shit. So, I definitely want to say it was between those two that really, because I used to watch those shows as a kid. And so, it was always like, yo, like, what they got on? Those look sweet, This before HD TV, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of had to guess, and,
Right.
but it was like, I couldn't afford them, but that didn't stop me from appreciating them and loving them. And so, as I got a little bit older, I was able to get a couple pairs, here and there. And then once I became an adult, got a job, got, settled down, then I was able to kind of build up my collection.
Right.
And luckily for me, I've been wearing the same size since
So
like
what
the 8th
first
grade.
one?
So, first, somewhere around here. My first pair though was the black and red Air Jordan 12. I still have my originals.
Wow.
Still have them.
Wow.
Like, I couldn't have treated a human baby better than I treated those shoes. I used to like clean them every day, and I would just put them back in the box.
What was your first pair of Jordans?
Yep, first pair of Jordans. My first pair is like sneakers. Okay. Believe it or not, I used to run track when I was a kid, so I remember having some like Air Max 90s when I was a kid, but they were just kind of like some shit to run in. But my first pair of sneakers that like I really cared about, that I was like in love with, was the Air Jordan 12.
That's dope, man. I remember my first pair that I bought myself. Now, my first pair was a 3, and that's what made me fall in love with it as a kid. But the first pair I bought myself was actually the Air Jordan 2, the 94 retro. I got it in like 97. So all of y'all was wearing 12s, and I played basketball. And everybody had on 12s and pennies and all this other stuff. I walked in the gym with the 2s on. They like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Listen,
So, it felt like I could fly, although I could dunk, but I couldn't do none of the stuff Michael could do. I could just do the simple one hands and the simple alley-oop stuff. But yeah, man, it made me feel incredible. And I remember Mike the Expert. This guy had the Taxi 12 and he had the Jumpman Pro. He was just shining on us like it was nothing.
Okay.
I got the originals.
Yeah, I remember.
These are the originals.
That's what's up, man. Wow. That's what's
up.
This OG?
Yeah, that's original.
Oh man.
The metal eyelids.
Yeah, that's serious, man.
Yeah, I need a reglue though. I think they're starting to separate. No,
that Taxi.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I remember my first pair of Jordans was the Olympic 7s.
Mm-hmm.
They came out right before the summer of going into 6th grade. Man, that shoe was love, man. That shoe, I love that shoe. Like I wore it and got home and took it right off right before I went outside to go play. I did not want to get that shoe dirty, man. Like that's and to this day, that one and probably the 5s is my favorite one. The OG 5s, the black ones there. So, but yeah, that 7 was my first one there, and that 12 there, that Taxi, man, I just always go back to the Martin episode, man. Gina didn't want him to buy that shoe, and he did it anyway, and yeah, that was just good times, man. Good times.
Honestly, though, Martin Lawrence, somebody that should get way more credit because he wore a lot of heat.
He did.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this about the 12s though. Jordan Brand is like really pissing me off because they're going through and they're getting the toes right on the Air Jordan 3 and the Air Jordan 2s, the toe box and the shape and whatnot. The Air Jordan 12, they still kind of not get. The Air Jordan 12 was a bulky sneaker. Like you see, it was a bulky sneaker.
Absolutely heavy too.
It's like a boot.
And
heavy.
Look how thick this mud guard is, right? And it slopes down, and even the most recent iteration, the Cherry 12s. Like I got an original pair of the Cherry 12s. They need to get re-glued too, but the shape you could just look side by side with the 2023 version versus the 1997 version, and they still don't get it right. So that's why I didn't get the 2023 version because I'm like Oprah Winfrey and or Whoopi Goldberg in Color Purple. Like until you do right by me.
I promise you. Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crunch.
I'm not buying another sneaker, so
right.
Yeah. What's crazy with me in the 12, especially when it comes to the Taxi, they keep doing these crazy iterations. The royal, right? So like they did with the black laces, whereas with the gold on it. Now they have like a Taxi blue and a Taxi red. I'm like, why not just make the regular shoe that we all want? Like, what are we doing here?
Because Jordan Brand wants to pimp out their fan base. Like, this is why I didn't buy the Bread Reimagined 4s. That bullshit. Listen, you're not gonna drop an OG black and red 4 in 18, and then come up with the same exact shoe 4 years later. Like I'm supposed to give you another $200. Talking about it's reimagined. No, it's not. It just has the leather upper. And God bless them. Listen, I'm about to speak my mind. I'm apologies ahead of time. I'm just gonna speak my mind. You got certain people out there who suck Jordan Brand's ass because they get free shit. I used to get free shit too. Guess what? I kept my integrity because I caught them out in their bullshit,
right?
Irregardless of the shoes they sent me. Right? You can't sit up here and bitch and complain about the shape of a shoe, and then as soon as I complain about something, all of a sudden you want to turn into the defense attorney. I had a problem with the reimagined thing because it's not reimagined. It's just how can we don't trust ourselves with coming out with new and creative ways to do these retros. So we're going to keep going back to the same well of going back to the same retros and the same colorways, and now we just got to find another reason to milk it. So instead of nubuck, we're going to give you leather. And you got people arguing, well, technically the nubuck is reimagined. No, the nubuck is because they stopped making dirt.
You win.
Perfect.
So they switched
Right.
to
Right.
new buck. That's why that happens. So people creating these disingenuous
Yeah.
conversations around it, trying to justify spending. Look, if you want to give Jordan Brand your money, give them your money. I work hard for my money. So Jordan Brand gonna have to
Right.
work equally as hard to get my money from me. Ain't no innovation coming from no. Now I will say the new basketball sneakers are great. The 36s, the 37s, the 38s, performance wise were great shoes. 37s I wasn't feeling design wise, but the 36s and the 38s, phenomenal shoes. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's like, so I still got hope what they're trying to do in the future. But when it comes to the retros, it's like they're gonna Chicago us to death. They're gonna Bread Forest to death. They're gonna Concord 11 us to death. You know, and just come up with Reimagine. Like what? They came out with the white cement threes, Reimagine. What was Reimagine? They aged the midsole.
The Asian midsole.
$2 million.
I
That's
mean,
back
you
tab.
even said the one.
Listen,
You even said the Chicago
yeah,
one. The only thing they did was age the
yeah.
upper by the ankles. So
Listen,
let's speak on it. So I want to ask you about that. You think they're running out of ideas up there in Oregon?
listen. It's a $2 billion brand. They're giving you $2 effort. I think personally that, and I don't blame the designers so much. I think it starts from the top, right? You look at most companies don't innovate. If you think about any
Yeah.
innovation you've seen in the last 20 years, it's usually some small upstart company that comes with some type of new innovative idea because they have to. They got to
Right.
differentiate themselves from the marketplace, right? They come
Right.
out and
Right.
then what
Right.
happens? The bigger companies buy them out, take their new innovation and absorb it within their own corporation. Very rarely do you see corporations that have already existed continue to be innovative because innovation requires risk, right? And a lot of people don't
It
want to
does.
risk anything because they have shareholders that they're beholden to, right? And the thing
Right.
about shareholders is they're always trying to grow their investment. Problem is there reaches a point where there's no more change in the couch cushions. You just have to be comfortable with the money you're making. But you see a lot of these companies,
Yeah.
what do? They skimp out on materials. They cut jobs. They find different ways to increase profits for shareholders, and who suffers? We do, the consumer. So, yeah, I think Jordan Brand and even Nike. Like, I mean, you see news articles now where they talking about the lack of innovation because there's only so many times you're going to reimagine a Jordan, or so many times you're going to, you know, even with the new Air Maxes. Like, it's cool and all,
Yeah.
but you know, once you've seen one Air Max, it's starting to feel like once you've seen one Air Max, you've seen them all. You know, so
Yeah.
Especially after the
you
Vapor
know,
Max, it's like they all like, how many more air bubbles can you put on it? You know?
yeah, exactly. Like now we got 3 air bubbles on. It's like okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like all right, like pretty soon you're just gonna have the shoe just gonna look like one big bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like just one big bubble with a swoosh on it. You know, and
Yeah.
it's gonna look like your feet wrapped in bubble wrap.
Nike gotta see what the writing's on the wall, and how you can tell is that these collabs. Every time there's a collab going, they sell out like quick because people think that, and they feel like the shoes are timeless. These are timeless shoes, yes. However, when they come out with a collab, they just take off. So people love the shoes, but they're tired of that. Like you said, like every 5 or 6 years, or 10 years, we get the same shoe again. So those collabs just make it more fresher. You get your favorite shoes, but then you get your favorite designer or artist, pitching into either reimagine or hey, just we call it a collab. So people do feel like hey, it's stale. Like what is Nike doing about it? So it's why the collab game is so big right now.
Here's my thing about the collabs, though. And if you listen to the podcast, I've religiously said this. I hold collaborations to a higher standard than I hold a general release, right? Because as a designer, right, your job is to churn out shoes every weekend, right? So not every shoe is going to be a home run. right? But collaborations, you might do
That's
what,
right.
1 or 2 a year, right? So you have time to really
Right.
hone
Right.
in and focus on a story or a concept. And a lot of these motherfuckers do the bare minimum and then half-ass some story that they've attached to the marketing and then try to sell me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a year. I haven't been too impressed with anything they've done. I like the 2s. I kind of like the 5s,
The
but
3.
and here's the thing though. And I'm not saying these shoes are trash. I'm saying they're basic. Whereas like Jordan Brand could have came out with
Right.
this same shoe themselves. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is they've added brand. I feel like we buy
Facts.
into the branding too much, where we buy it because it's an Amam year, or we buy it because it's a Jordan, but we're not actually buying the product because the product actually
Or
it's not the
Cactus
product, it's
Jack.
the branding. Yeah,
Especially
it's like
Cactus Jack.
I had a kid, you know, he was showing off his Louis Vuittons, and I'm like, them shit's ugly. He was like, but they Louis, and I'm like, so the fuck what? Like, okay, it's a Louis, it's an ugly Louis. Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he thought because it is a Louis Vuitton that somehow absolves it of being ugly. And I'm like, it's an ugly ass shoe that you overpaid for, all because it had a name attached to it. And that shit, like, there are Jordans that I would not buy. I'm probably one of the few people that just absolutely hates the Bordeaux 7s. I will die on that hill alone. I will die on that hill alone. I'm not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of it.
No.
Not a big fan of the Bordeaux 7s.
Really?
Sorry.
Now, you don't remember the Chris Paul's video? Warm it up,
I-
Chris. You remember that video?
No, I remember the video.
When they
and I
came
remember
out
being
with
like,
the Bordeaux 7s?
I'm not a big fan of
Hey, I
Bordeaux
like the
7s,
Bordeaux 7. I got the 6 and the 7. I got the 6 and the
but
7. I
here's the
like them
thing
both.
though.
I love the
Here's the
color.
thing though. I just highlight that because a lot of people will just buy a shoe because it's a shoe he wore,
Right.
or it's a retro, or it's a Jordan. It's like, no, like we need to get back to what we like. Like, and you know what I'm saying? And I don't knock
Exactly.
nobody for liking it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, me personally, Jordan Brand ain't gonna just sell me nostalgia and think they're gonna get $200 out of my pocket. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? There's too many shoes out here
Speaking
doing
on
it's
that,
too many brands doing well, real quick, there's too many brands doing dope shit for you to be giving me bare minimum effort and think you're gonna get my money.
right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
speaking on like brands doing dope stuff like Mach, I mean, I give him the credit in the world. He taking a risk doing something different, like
Who's that?
things that you like. I like the Khaled 5. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually liked it. I thought it was dope. I liked the way the materials. I thought the shoe looked good for
Man, them
me.
pastel
As a
colors,
spring-
man. Come on, man.
As
Yeah,
a
the
Come on, man.
pastel
springtime
colors.
shoe, that's just me
Yeah.
though. I like the shoe.
Yeah. First of all,
Mm-mm.
DJ
I
Khaled
love the
annoys
5.
the hell
5
out
is
of
my
me.
favorite, but them colors threw me off.
DJ Khaled annoys me because it's like, yo, you too old to be acting like you can't step on the floor. Like, motherfucker got security guards carrying him. He was at a basketball game with pillows on
That
his.
was wild.
Like, you corny as fuck. Like, dog, like, you know, what's that saying? A lane with money is still lame. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at DJ Khaled.
Right.
Like, you lame as fuck.
Congratulations, you
Like,
played yourself.
I would never want to hang out with DJ Khaled ever. I promise you. If I ever ran into DJ Khaled, I'll be like, oh, okay, and I will continue about my business. I swear to God, like people get caught up in celebrity, like, oh my God, what? I'm not a rapper, so I don't need your beats.
Did somebody
No.
carry him into a
I
boat?
don't. Yeah, it
No,
was
they
something
carried
fucking
it.
stupid.
He was getting ready. He was at a concert, right? And it was like, I guess, dirt or sand or something. And he didn't want to walk on it because he had the J Bob and 3s on. He had the black ones. So he didn't want
Really?
to walk. So he had 2 security guards pick him up and carry him and put him in a truck. And then when he got to where he was going to the stage, they picked him up again and put him on the steps. It looked crazy.
First
it looked
off,
crazy for you to be like 40-something and 2 40-something-year-old dudes picking you up, carrying you. That's crazy.
if I had a wish, if I had one wish, if God told me right now I'm gonna give you one wish, I would have completely wasted it on one of those security guards tripping and falling and making DJ Khaled fall into the dirt. I swear to you, I would have wasted my wish on that. No, because it's like, no, like, you serious right now? You serious right now? There are people who can afford one pair of Jordans, right? One pair who wouldn't do that shit. This motherfucker got a whole house full acting like he can't step on the ground. Like, fuck out of it. And it's supposed to be cool. Why? Because it's DJ Khaled?
and could get another pair for free. That's the
Right.
crazy part. Like,
Right.
it ain't like you can't
You
get
only have
another.
more than one
It's
pair.
not like me where I gotta go buy this one pair. He making a phone call, and the next day the shoes are at his house. This is what I
You
wanted to
Right.
kind
probably
of
got
bring up.
more than one pair.
This is what I
Thank
wanted to
you.
bring up real quick. It just kind of get your, and then I'm gonna throw it to Mike. It get your perspective on this, man. You talked about Jordan Brand basically doing the minimum. I kind of see it a couple ways. Number one, there's no transitional athlete or generational athlete they could put their money on like with Mike. You know, like there's no guy that they have, and even Nike itself don't really have that guy that everybody likes. So I think that's part of it. There's no Tinker Hatfield, obviously, to push the boundary. And I feel like we kind of got stuck because I know when Jeffrey was in charge, none of the shoes had a Nike Air on it. And we all complained. And then they finally did it and charged us more money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, that's crazy. Why did we even do that in the first place? You know, so you see them kind of doing this stuff. And exactly,
That's
because
why.
they can, but you're right. There's no more innovation really.
No. There's no more innovation. Nike and Jordan Brand pretty much are like, yo, here's our ass to kiss. Every Saturday, here's our ass. Kiss it. You know what I'm saying? And most people do. And this is the crazy part to me. People will get the shoe and complain. They'll complain about the quality, they'll complain, and still buy these bitches. And I ask them all the time, y'all kept the receipt? Yeah. Return them then. Get your money back. What? I wish I would. I wish I would spend $200, get a shoe, complain about it, and keep it. You negate your
That's
own
crazy.
complaint. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like, but we've been so conditioned to just buy. As consumers, we've been conditioned to consume without thinking about what it is we're consuming. And I don't know
Like
how
you
we
doing
got
this.
here. Huh?
Oh no, go ahead.
But I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here, you know, but I am ready to leave. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to leave this spot. I'm ready to leave this place. You know, I always say I'm gonna move to another planet and start over. Because it's just, I don't know where we gotten to this point where we're just like, we just conditioned to buy shit just because. And it's like, no, you gonna have to earn. I earn my money every week. I show up every day on time. I clock out when I'm supposed to clock out, right? Rain, hail, sleet, snow, right? Work hard every week to get my check. And I'm just going to give you my money? Bruh. Listen, I'm not gonna give somebody my money at gunpoint. What makes you think I'm just gonna give somebody my money? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yo, Mike the expert, I know you had some things that you wanted to kind of holler at Caesar on and bring to the table.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing was, how and why did you and your team start the Sneaker Box podcast? What
Good
was the
question.
inspiration
So
behind that?
that started because so at that time I had just joined Sneaker Bar Detroit, right? And I started as a writer, and I didn't want to just do like release date bullshit because what they do is, and I swear to God, I want everybody to do this one day. Go to each blog and read their write up on a particular release. Is damn near identical no matter which blog you go to because they get the same emails, right? And all they do is just copy and paste and then give themselves a writer's credit at the end, right? And I never really wanted to do that. Like the times that I wrote about a product, it stood out because one, I didn't do it often, and two, it wasn't just copy and paste whatever the brand sent me. No, if I'm gonna speak on it, and I told brands this shit, y'all want me to do a write up on y'all shit, I'm gonna be honest. So if you are that confident in your product, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're not, you might want to reconsider whether or not you want to send it to me. So that's how it started. But don't nobody read no more. So I'm like, okay, what's another platform or avenue, right, in order to spew my opinions? And we started doing like YouTube reviews and shit because, that's kind of like you kind of have to when you have a blog. And this is before everybody and mama started doing it, right? And even then, it was already the marketplace was already compact with a bunch of YouTubers, but that was back then, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what's another lane? I don't want to be one of many. I want to be one of one. So at the time, nobody was really doing podcasting, and nobody had shoes. Shout out to OSD Live because they were the first. They had been doing podcasting like a year or two before we did. They were the originators. They laid the groundwork, right? So I was like, okay, well, I want to do that. But at this point, they had stopped. And so I'm like, I want to do that, but I want to make it more like a radio show type thing. And so I had the idea. Sneakerboard Detroit was not behind it at first at all. Like they was against the shit. They were just like,
Wow.
yeah, no, that's
Why
a
not?
waste of time, waste of money. Because here's the thing: when we talk about innovation, this is what I'm talking about. Nobody believes in the idea until they see somebody else do it.
Gotcha. True.
That's true.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, it's heavy.
So it's like look at these streaming apps, right? Netflix came out and was doing that shit years before everybody else, and then all of a sudden everybody got the good idea to create their own streaming app, right? Look at eBay sneakers. StockX came out doing authentication. Goat came out doing authentication. eBay's been out. eBay's existed twice as long. eBay came out in the late 90s. They literally was like one of the first companies when the internet broke out. And yet, they're trying to replicate StockX. You know what I'm saying? Innovation.
That's crazy because I remember being a college student buying sneakers from eBay, and it was no StockX.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, what's funny about that, Josh actually pitched the idea before he created StockX with Dan Gilbert. He pitched it to eBay. eBay turned it down because it didn't fit within their business model. Just for them to turn around and try to replicate it.
Well, we do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Complex. Complex all of a sudden had the bright idea to do a podcast years after we did it. Go figure. But and I'll get on them later because black people create culture, white people get to monetize it. But going back to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Going back to the podcast. Again.
Ooh, put that on a hoodie.
Yeah.
I wanted to create a platform to not to do a number of things. One, I wanted to put my city on because I felt like as a sneakerhead, Detroit got looked over a lot. New York got all the love, LA got all the love, hell, even Dallas got love. Detroit, no love. So I wanted to showcase Detroit, like, yo, we know sneakers here too. Two, I wanted to create a platform where Black people had a voice and we could look intelligent, we could entertain, we could do all these things, we could be multifaceted, right? Because once again, when ESPN was like, yo, we want to get the sneakers, they went and got Nick DePaula. Jock Slade been doing this too. Right? So I'm like, okay, well,
true.
The only way we're going to get opportunities is if we make opportunities for ourselves. So that was one of the reasons too. And then two, I wanted a unique and different way to talk about sneakers other than YouTube videos and stuff. So I thought podcasts would be a good medium. Once again, this is before everybody named Mama created a podcast show. So we did the show, started in Jumpman's basement. And trial and error, because I can't tell you how many episodes we lost because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. There was times I didn't push record. There was times I didn't save it. You know what I'm saying? The microphones didn't work. All this shit.
Hey, hold on. But it was before you tell more, I gotta say this because me and Mike, we sit here, we smile and we laugh because you saying stuff that we know already. So me and Mike, the expert, we grew up together. That's my man, 180 grand. Dre, that's my guy, 180 grand. The three of us actually many years ago, we decided that, oh man, we see AG Entertainment, they got vision and and your man from BMF is up in there and all that, and this guy's in there, Jeezy's in there, Meech is in there. We wanted to be like them, so we thought we would start an entertainment company. This is way before it was crowded. We tried that. We had a record label. Me and Mike had a record label. We decided to do internet radio, and I can't tell you how many times we went on there and we doing internet radio. This is like 2009, 2010. There's times we forgot to record. There's times where just anything and everything could happen because we were so early on technology. So I totally get it. And then when you said that line about how as Black people we basically create something and then they come in and monetize it. It's almost like you watched the episode we ain't even posted yet. We actually, in our last episode, we talked about, and I know it's a little bit away from sneakers, we talked about Risa Teese on TikTok. She, whether you think she's telling the truth or not, it's a black woman that came up with something different that broke the algorithm of TikTok and got everybody to tune in. And I was actually happy to see somebody that is black, especially a black woman, win. And it wasn't a black woman that was like Halle Berry or, got 1 million Instagram followers or that sort of thing. It was somebody that could be your cousin, your sister, somebody that's from your neighborhood. It was cool to see somebody like that win. So definitely shout out to her. And it's that's exactly what you're speaking on right there.
Yeah, and I often get accused of race baiting because I talk about racism as if it doesn't exist, right? You'll have people who will say, well, you talk about it so much, you kind of perpetuating it. No, it exists. And ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Just like ignore the intruder that's coming through your window does not make them go away. You get the luxury of saying that because just like the intruder, it's not a danger to you, it's a danger to me. You know what I'm saying? So,
facts.
So ignoring it, like putting your head in the sand and act like it doesn't exist, you get to act like it doesn't exist because it doesn't affect you. Right? I'm faced with it every day. I'm reminded that I'm black every day. So excuse me if I'm going to speak my piece. As long as I got air in my lungs, I'm going to speak my piece. So
well, I love the fact that you also gave props to everybody else that do this. And I think when you look at what we do over here in the culture of sneakers and sports, part of why we did this, we from the A, and we don't get the attention like that. Like, don't nobody be like, oh man, the A got a reputation for sneakers. We sneakerheads just like everybody else. And it's something that we do different here. We give love to everybody. We're not in competition with nobody. That's not saying that they're bad and we're good. Everybody's good. Why can't we all show love to each other? Why can't we come on each other's platform and, big each other up, give each other their roses and stuff like that? So that's kind of what we want to do with this thing right here.
Listen,
is to show our love, but also reach out to other people that got the same interests.
The way I look at it is me acknowledging the brightness of your light does not dim mine. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And so for me, because I care about culture and I'm a big fan of history, and I know what we're up against, you damn right I'm gonna shout out to people because I care about culture, because I understand that culture is bigger than me. I understand that I've contributed in some way, but at the same time, I also understand that I'm not the only one and I'm not the first. And the same way I want my acknowledgement and I want my respect, I gotta acknowledge the people that are doing it and have been doing it. So, but that's how you can tell when you got people who want to come in and just own it and want to act like they're the only ones or they're the first, then yeah, they're not really about the cultures, they are about themselves. I'm about the culture. I can be confident in what I do and at the same time acknowledge somebody else and what they're doing. So, and not see it as a threat. Because I'm not threatened by anything, right? If I'm scared to acknowledge you because I see you as a threat, then I've already acknowledged that you are better than me because I'm scared to, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm scared to acknowledge you,
right,
I'm gonna do this,
right?
And this is the first, and I ain't even said this on my show yet. Shout out to the Sneak Disc. We had our beef, we had our run-ins, but I respect those dudes because they put in the work. They've been doing it almost as long as us. I think they started like maybe a couple years after we started. But, and it was funny though, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like we both looked at Complex like the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like despite our beef, we both was like, look, I can at least respect the fact that you put the work in. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers just show up with Daddy Rich and Tello's money and it was like, all right. And they brought the two lamest white dudes they could find in the office, right? Complex is bending over backwards trying to give these dudes personality. Like Matt Welty has a triggered meter. Fuck, like watch their show and look how many cuts and edits they got to do. They got to zoom in, zoom out. They got to put captions above their heads. They got to have a fucking triggered meter. All that stupid shit just to give these motherfuckers a personality. That's it. It's so stupid to me. And like, if you notice the show when it was just them two, the show sucked. That's why they had to bring on Trinidad James. They had to bring on Joe LaPuma. Right? They had to give them some type of credibility because anybody trying to watch Brendan Doone is boring as fuck. I swear to God, I can't listen to him while I drive or operate heavy machinery because I'm gonna injure myself. Matt Welty looks like he lives in a studio apartment full of empty pizza boxes. You know what I'm saying? So I can't. I don't take neither one of these motherfuckers seriously. And complex to me is what the Pilgrims were to the Indians. So I just
Shout out to Trinidad.
Huh?
I said shout out to Trinidad James, man.
Shout out to him.
Definitely.
But and my thing is, once again, the fact that I can acknowledge Sneak this, despite our beef and despite our history, and that lets you know that I'm not so biased to where I can acknowledge somebody. Right? The motherfuckers are complex. Can't stand them because once again, that speaks to what I'm saying. Black people create culture. White people get to monetize it. Anytime there's an opportunity to take things to the next level, who they give those opportunities to? Not us.
Facts.
Oh,
so
we was
speaking
doing
on taking it to the next
they didn't
level.
reach out to us. Go ahead.
So I was just saying, speaking on, and I know Mike got something for you. We're gonna talk about SneakerCon in a second. I just want to take a quick look because I know you're a sports head too. We talk about taking it to the next level. It made me think about like coaching, right? You think about a guy like Steve Wilkes, right? He gets fired because of the 49ers lose, but he ain't the one calling the plays that caused him to lose. Or you look at a situation now where Jacques Vaughn's been fired in Brooklyn. And what did he get to work with though? You know, he got a guy that don't want to play basketball, you know, so it's kind of interesting where you see Steve Nash got that opportunity when they had the big three, right? Why the brother can't get that opportunity? And if you do, you see it's only one, and it's the same guy over again, like a Doc Rivers. Why can't other brothers get those opportunities from marquee teams? Even looking at what happened to my man at the Bucks, like how you get fired and your team at number one.
I mean,
and you the all-star coach.
This speaks to what I'm talking about, though. Like, they'll give you a slab of bologna and then get mad when you don't give them a fucking New York strip. Like, you gave me bologna to cook. Like, what? Only thing I can do with that is fry it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can only work with the ingredients you give me. Right? See, when people see whatever you see me do within sneakers, understand this. I did that all the while working 6 days, 10 hours a day. I did that doing a full-time job. These motherfuckers, this is their full-time job. And yet, and you would think they would look at somebody like me like, damn, like, okay, if he did all that working 60 hours a week, what could he do if this was his full-time job? Where he could focus on it full-time. But we don't get that opportunity. It's like, okay, that's nice, but. And it's like, okay, and I get proven right all the time. Foot Locker. You know, I had a conversation with them 2020, I think, 2022. I don't know what year. I posted it a couple years ago. And I tried to tell them, well, yo, direct to consumer is going to hurt y'all business. Y'all gonna do? And sure as shit, you saw they numbers last year. Now they got a couple deals with the NBA going and all this other shit. But I told them back then, y'all got to pivot. You cannot. They were so heavily reliant on Nike and Jordan brand that it was almost like Blockbuster, right? When the turn of the century, everybody was going to like, because remember Netflix started with the mail-in DVDs.
They did.
Right?
They did.
And then they turned it to a streaming app. It was like Blockbuster, right? They're like, oh yeah, people are going to rent movies forever. Yeah, but not in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
right.
And so, and because they were so slow to pivot, they became obsolete. And, you know, a lot of these brands, they think that they're going to last forever. We flash back 100 years ago, nobody would think Macy's would be in the position they're in now. Macy's was like that store for decades. And they struggled. You know what I'm saying? So this notion that, you know, we're going to last forever, you think that until you don't. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm preaching right now. But real quick, just kind of rewinding back, you know, how we started. Teamed up with Jumpman Bostic. And the thing was, we didn't really have it wasn't like we said we wanted sponsors and it was just like we was having fun just talking our shit. And then as it started to take off, it was like, okay, there's opportunity here. And then we just kind of took opportunities as we got it. And because it was so new and different, you know, people kind of latched on, but nobody really knew what to do with us, right? Our first sponsor was Crep Protect. And You know, everything was fine until they signed DJ Khaled. That's probably why I don't like DJ Khaled. But yeah, that started with him because everything was good until they cut the check for him, and then all of a sudden they dropped everybody. They dropped us. They dropped Jody Rockstar, Bree. Because you remember they had like a grassroots campaign where they had a bunch of like micro
Yep.
influencers, kind of like promoting the
Yep.
brand, and that gave it more credibility because it was like these are people that you actually run into and know, right? And so,
Right.
but then they got big, and it was like we're gonna sign DJ Khaled, and DJ Khaled did absolutely nothing. What's funny about DJ Khaled, he was with Schuvinator up until they cut him a check.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yep.
it's almost like the girl that don't like you until you get rich. All of a sudden, she in your DMs. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, does
Yep.
she love you, or does she just love you and your money?
Want that money?
Exactly. So
Put 2 and 2 together on that.
you know, and that's the problem. I be connecting dots. I'm good at math, so I'm always
Right.
adding 2 + 2. But yeah, so like the show at some
So
point,
how have
and you know,
y'all
we went to
how have
different.
y'all like continued to evolve the show? I was gonna say, how have y'all continued to evolve the show, man? Because I mean, I checked in on y'all at the beginning. I've watched y'all continue to grow and grow, and then you
Yeah.
know, I like one of the things I like that you do in Jumpman Bostic particularly. There's times I see y'all meet up to go to the Nike outlet or different places like that, and y'all got people. I remember when y'all first started this, people would be like, "Yo, let me know the size," and you know, you just helping people get sneakers that actually want sneakers. Like that's dope to me that I know y'all did that, but how did y'all continue to evolve the show? And I know y'all even do things like that that's different than what some of the other people are doing in the community.
At the heart of what we do is community. We, you know, I listed all the reasons when we did the show, but another reason was community. Like we wanted to give the community a voice, right? And we wanted to be a part of that because when you're about the community lifts you up and they make sure you're good. And so everything we did, now there was a point in time where, you know, I will admit that it became more about me, but overall, you know, we tried to be about community, which is why when we go to the store, we could go get our shoes and dip and then brag about it. You know what I'm saying? Look what I got, right? But it's like if we here and there's somebody out there that has a chance to get these shoes for retail, why not go on live? Why not give people this opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Like, why have social media and the connections that we got that we can reach anybody in the world and not utilize that to help somebody? Right. And that's always been part of our DNA, where it's like we want to be community. We want it to be. This is why we go into sneaker cons. We didn't go to sneaker cons for the event. You know what I'm saying? If you notice, if you ever been to a sneaker con, we stayed at our table. And if there was a second day, we were not there. You know what I'm saying? Because it was all about meeting up with people. It's all about meeting people in the community. We did SneakerCon was, well, one, we had to because that was part of our arrangement with Crep Attack. But then two, it was just once again a catalyst for us meeting these people. It was a catalyst for us to go on trips and check out these different cities because every city got their different flavors. You know what I'm saying? They got their own
Facts.
brand of stores. They got their own culture there. And so that was our opportunity. So SneakerCon was just our excuse to do those things. But it was never about SneakerCon. Like the event itself, we used to always shit on SneakerCon. Like it was always like resellers, and resellers. So yeah,
Well,
you know,
well, speaking of SneakerCon, you know, I was looking at your Instagram and I
yeah.
saw you speaking passionately about it, you know, about Trump and SneakerCon inviting him up there. What made you, you know, speak so passionately about that and about Trump and SneakerCon?
That's a good question. So what made me there's two ways I can look at this. There's the sneaker point of view, and then there's just the overall human point of view. So I'm gonna start with the sneaker point of view. The sneaker point of view is, the thing that I liked about sneakers is no matter what your background is, we can come together over our love of sneakers, right? And it felt like we focused more on our similarities in that way than our differences. So for you to platform Donald Trump, who is the most divisive person I've ever seen not in history, but in recent history, for y'all to platform him for the clout, for the news articles, for the headlines, I just thought was it was just like it was some whole shit. But at least with prostitutes and whores, there's a level of self-awareness. They honest, like, yo, I'm doing it for the money. These motherfuckers put out that fucking press release like, oh, it was like they was trying to address the controversy without addressing the controversy. It was stupid as fuck. They might as well not said anything.
Right.
And so I just felt like not to say that SneakerCon was some type of holy ground, but I just thought like to add politics to it because people say, well, Biden, listen, I would have preferred, first of all, I inherently don't trust politicians. I don't play party.
Right.
People that play into the party shit, I feel like is lazy and stupid because neither party truly cares
What's
about
not in
you.
your best interest.
Right. In order to get them to focus, to get you to focus on what they're not doing, they get you to focus on somebody else and their wrongs and their flaws, right? But and it's this back and forth and it's this mudslinging, and it just seems to be more petulant as we get older. There's no intelligence. It just seems everybody just wants to own own the liberals, own the conservatives, and it's like I'm not trying to own anybody. I'm not even trying to win an argument. I'm just trying to understand how you came to the conclusion that you came to. Right? Help me understand.
Well, it should be all
how
about
you
what's
see
in the
things.
best interest for everybody, not necessarily.
Well, that's the
How
thing,
can
though.
I
But
demolish
we
you?
become
What's in the best interest of us?
we become so tribalized, though, to the point where there's people who is like I said, like if it doesn't affect me, I don't give a fuck about it. As a man, one of the things early on in our show, I remember Sneaker Girl. She brought up, the issues that women face in the sneaker community. As a man, I'll be the first to admit I was ignorant to a lot of the things. They weren't on my radar because as a man, those are things I don't have to deal with. But if I'm in a position to where I can address those things, and I have a woman on my show that's bringing it to my attention, why not? You know what I'm saying? Just because it doesn't affect me doesn't mean that it doesn't affect somebody I know or somebody that I care about. And even if it's somebody that I don't know, on a human level, you should care, you know what I'm saying? Because it might be something down the pike that might affect you later on, and you will want somebody to stand up for you the way you stand up for them, right? And this is why I speak so passionately about certain things on the show, serious issues and whatnot. And when it came to Trump, there's conservative points of views, there's liberal points of views. I consider myself an independent because I don't fall into these tropes of Democrat. I don't wave these flags. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting nobody's bumper sticker on my car. You know what I'm saying? But we can sit here and debate all day, like I said, like the difference of opinions, and I typically respect those. But it gets to a point where things transcend that, and I feel like Trump transcends that. Where this isn't, a legitimate conversation from a conservative point of view. This is a narcissist who is all about power and ego. And because you have a certain contingent of people who are so desperate for a win that they will feed this person's ego, buy into his narcissism to the point where they literally had an insurrection. That shit was only a few years ago, and it's like people have this amnesia. Like I've had conversations with people, oh, the economy was so good. No, the fuck it wasn't. The reason why your shoes cost so much is because this motherfucker was so bad at trade deals that they raised the tariffs, raised the price on anything. Let's remember, this dude almost put our farming industry in jeopardy.
Out of business.
To where they had to subsidize it. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude thought he was going to Billy Badass his way with the rest of the world. This is the same guy that convinced people that he was going to strong arm Mexico into building us a wall. Like, and it's so funny. It's so funny because I have conversations with people and they're like, "Oh, you just program, bruh. What is program? I'm an electrician engineer, right? We have robots at our job that I could put in a program and it would do whatever I tell it, right? It doesn't ask why. It doesn't ask for context or nuance. It just does whatever the fuck I tell it to do. That's program. So if this dude can tell you with no proof, no evidence that the election was stolen just because he lost it, that's programmed. And what I
Right.
find is that you find a lot of his supporters projecting their own actions on the other people to avoid come to Jesus moment when they realize that they've been duped, that they've been conned. But here's the thing about being conned. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to acknowledge that I got played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to have to find out the hard way that this dude don't give a fuck, don't give a shit. And it's so funny because I heard black people talk about, well, I had money. No, you had PPP loans. Those loans weren't meant for you. You got those shits illegally
Right.
and thought you was balling.
So let me ask you
And
this.
you know what I'm saying?
While we talking about Trump real quick, I just want to ask you this real quick. What did you think of Fat Joe basically coming on here this week, saying he had to have a pair of shoes? I kind of thought it was corny because I thought it was corny for Trump to be there. I thought, honestly, for me, SneakerCon was just for people that love sneakers and let's talk about sneakers and stuff in the community, sports, all that type of stuff. It really wasn't for any platform of that sort. But getting back to Fat Joe, man, what did you think about that? Like, because I felt like Joe could have just came on there and said, yo, he didn't really have to do that. If you're a real sneakerhead and you really want the shoes, you can get them. You ain't got to tell nobody. If you're not trying to get this man no free promotion, then why did you even do that?
We live in such a society where clout is like the currency. So I'm a big fan of history. I'm a big fan of history. But there's certain things I'm not going to touch. And for me, watching Joe, like, here's the shoe I bought, but I don't like them. It would almost be like me showing off my original copy of like Mein Kampf under the guise of being a book collector, but telling you I'm not a fan of Hitler though. Like, so why are you showing us this book then? You know what I'm saying? Because whether you like it or not, you are promoting this. You are platforming this.
Right.
You're acting, you know what I'm saying? To a degree, you are masking the true dilemma and the true, like, by him acting like it's just a shoe and, it's not that big of a deal, it's like you kind of, how do I want to say it? It's one of those things where it's like you're masking the danger. Not even just play yourself, but you're like masking the danger, right? Because there's a very real danger because people's lives could be affected by this. You know what I'm saying? Like people say, well, Trump isn't racist, but he plays to racists. Who do you think the Klan voted for? Who do you think the Nazis voted for? Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like all the people, it's so funny. Like they want to sit up there and like take the few people that looted and stuff for Black Lives Matter and make that the entire embodiment of that movement. But then they want to pick and choose, the insurrection. Oh, well, not everybody was. There was enough of you motherfuckers. I wasn't trying to find the one or two people that weren't trying to break into the Capitol. Overall majority of the people there went there. That was the movement. Black Lives Matter, it was mostly a peaceful protest. Yes, some people did some dumb shit. But, and here's the thing though. Like, when I look at Joe, and like I'm good friends with Mayor, and he's good friends with Joe. And and so, I know he's probably gonna see this and we probably gonna have a conversation about it, but it's like, yo, I gotta keep it real. I just do. And that was so disappointing because it's like, yo, this man don't give a fuck about you or me and you buying his shoes. And I want, and here's the thing, as somebody who's a collector, as somebody who's a fan of history, I get holding on to things that you think will have some historical significance. These motherfucking shoes ain't gonna have no historical significance, other than the fact that he just fucking fleeced y'all again for some shit. Because remember, this is the same guy that sold you "Make America Great" "Make America Great Again" hats made in Vietnam.
And stole that from Ronald
American
Reagan
made. And Ronald Reagan stole it from the Klan from the early 20th century because that was a slogan the Klan ran on. So, and not to mention Reagan and all his politics, which didn't help anything.
Reaganomics.
Reaganomics. You could talk about how they went after the crack cocaine. They went after crack, but not cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Cocaine, slap on the wrist. Crack, hey, you going to prison. You know what I'm saying? And we already know what the difference is. Cocaine was more of a white drug, crack was more of a black drug. So we can
Facts.
go down that route
Ask
all we
Freeway
want
Ricky
to.
Ross.
But there you go. So with Trump, I just felt like this isn't just a difference of opinion. This isn't just a different political view. This is somebody who is very dangerous to our democracy. And you don't just fucking haphazardly show off his shoes or bring him to your event because you think it's cute or you think it's going to get you clout or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think bigger than that. You got to fucking think bigger than that shit. And I think, sometimes, but this is the thing, I also got to hold myself accountable because, while I was upset at Joe and I was upset at all those YouTubers that stood, JC, and everybody that stood in line and took pictures with Trump and shit, I was upset by that. At the end of the day, I'm like, these are YouTubers. Why am I expecting YouTubers to put principle over clout?
Right. They looking for views.
Yeah, why am I looking at a reseller to put principles over clout? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I looking for principles from people who will do anything for views and a check? You know what I'm saying? That's like looking for loyalty from a prostitute. Yeah. Hey, why you fucking that dude? Because I get paid. This is what I do. I get money for this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you kind of gotta manage your own expectations. But with SneakerCon,
right?
Like I said, dude, I mean, this all go back. Sneaker culture, as much as people hate when I say this shit, it started with the black community. Sneaker culture is black culture. That's not to say that nobody else can participate. Case in point,
Definitely.
martial arts. So we know how that started, right? There's no argument as to the genesis of martial arts, right? That doesn't mean that anybody else can't participate in the martial arts, but you still acknowledge where it came from. You still acknowledge the cultural ownership of that, right? But for sneaker, anytime black people create anything, we got to give it up. We got to let everybody else do it. And then, God forbid, we try to gatekeep or maintain our ownership, maintain our fingers on the pulse. God forbid we try to monetize it. All of a sudden, we get called all types of things. Think about jazz.
Hip-hop.
We started jazz. Now, when you think of jazz, you don't think about black people. Rock and roll. Country music. People mad at Beyonce. People are mad at a black woman that's singing something that black people started. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Hey, well, I got to throw this in there. I got to throw this in there. Because Mike the Expert going to hold my feet to the fire because I was one of the main people that was very critical, speaking on sneakers and being critical. And somebody that was black trying to do something. I appreciated he was black and he was trying. I just didn't like the execution. And I didn't like the execution of the delivery. Was Big Baller Brand. Now, Mike going to get on my head because he was all for LeVar. And I said this too. I said it to him off camera. I said, if I'm going to give LeVar Ball heat, I got to give Trump heat because what's the difference, man? If I say LeVar was a scam, Trump definitely a scam. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a big fan of the Big Baller Brand. I'm going to let Mike the Expert say something real quick because I know he was a big
LeVar I can't wait for this one.
Now, see, my thing is KP wasn't really giving the man a chance. My thing is it was a man that was trying to do something different. Now, how it ended up, it may not have ended up well, but he was trying to do something different. He wasn't trying to just follow the norm. So I was trying to give the man a chance, But
this is
I didn't like that the people ordering shoes that never got them. That was crazy to me.
No.
And these people ordering shoes and you ain't delivering.
Yeah. This is the trap that we as black people fall in. We think because somebody is black that they care about us as much as we care about them. Right? It's equivalent to let's just say I start a restaurant. My food is trash, my customer service is trash, and then I blame everybody for not supporting the black business because I'm black. completely ignoring that I'm just running,
which is happening every day, by the way.
bad business practices, right? It's like as
Oh,
black people, we think people should just buy into our business simply because we're black. No, what it means is that as a black business owner, you do your due diligence, you have great customer service, you have great product and or services, and if given a choice between your business and another business, I will rather go to your business. That does not mean you get to have shit businesses that are ran equally as shitty, and just simply because you're black, I'm supposed to patronize your business. That's not what that means. That's exactly what Big Baller Brand did. Big Baller Brand came out the gate on some bullshit. None of their shoes. If you remember, let's go back to that shit. First of all, they ain't had no business plan, no strategy, to the point where even Lonzo wasn't even wearing that shit. How you gonna charge me $700 for a shoe he not even wearing?
I told you, Mike. I told you.
He not even wearing it too, but you gonna charge me $700, $900 if it come in the case. You know, it was just a whole bunch of other shit that was thrown together just to monetize his son and the publicity he created around him, which did him no favors. People kept saying, "Well, he just, he's a supportive black father."
It worked.
There's a million black supportive fathers in the NBA and the NFL who weren't cashing or writing checks that their kids had to cash. It's one thing to have confidence in your kid. It's one thing to have confidence in your kid. It's another to talk shit to the point where the spotlight is so bright on him and people are gunning from him because of the shit you saying.
Don't that sound familiar, Mike the Expert? Don't that sound like something I said?
No, so look. The shoe thing, I understand. That was totally messed up, right? But Lonzo Ball wound up being the number 2 pick in the draft, and without his dad saying all that stuff that he did, Lonzo Ball would have never been the number 2 pick in the draft.
How's that working out
honestly,
for him,
a lot of people didn't even. Well, I understand. I mean, he had a lot of injuries and stuff.
He had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, his dad got him there. His career probably would have.
Here's the thing. Had he shut the fuck up, you're right. He might not have been drafted number 2, but you know what would have happened? He probably would have been drafted to another place where he could have developed and had the chance to develop, because you talked all that shit. He's on the Lakers and expected to make a difference out the gate.
Yeah.
So he don't have the chance to develop. He don't have this. He got to go out there, and he has to push himself probably more than he would have been if he would have just been any other rookie.
That's how he got hurt.
Thank you. So that's what I mean. It's like, so if he would have went somewhere else, like right now, LaMelo Ball, nobody's tripping over LaMelo Ball because at that point he had learned his lesson. It was like, okay, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let him do his thing. And whether they doing good or bad,
LaMelo Ball.
But my point is, there's not a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of pressure on him that it was on Lonzo. Lonzo was on the Lakers one. And you talking about he's better than Magic Johnson. You don't think saying that shit is going to put a spotlight on a rookie that's playing for the Lakers? That's not going to put pressure on your son to live up to expectations? Like every other superstar in the league.
I know you wanted him about it, didn't you?
Huh?
I'll say, Dre, I know you wanted Lonzo up out of there once you realized he couldn't play, didn't you?
Yeah,
This is Snicker fan number 1 here.
You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you this. You know what it's like? You ever have somebody tell you how funny a movie was, and you go in there and it's not as funny as they made it seem? But had they never told you or never talked it up, you probably would have enjoyed it. But because they set expectations up here, you walked in. That's the same thing with Lonzo. He went in there setting expectations, so now it's like, okay. And so then when he doesn't live up to expectations, now we looking at him like a bust.
Well, what about his son LiAngelo or whatever? His son LiAngelo had no business being on an NBA team, being able to almost get on there and all that. If it wasn't for him being part of the Balls and LeVar Ball saying all that stuff, he probably wouldn't even got that opportunity.
No.
Here's the thing about opportunities. Opportunities don't mean shit if you don't maximize them. Just saying I made it to the NBA just to be immediately cut ain't doing nothing for nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Like,
let's
that, look,
go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead.
no,
Go
I
ahead,
was just
Dre.
gonna
Go
say,
ahead. You had something.
like, okay, yeah, look, they all went to the NBA. So what? What they do there?
I mean, you know, they made some of what Lonzo Ball did, LiAngelo, you know.
You know what I'm
Go ahead,
saying? It's
Dre. You
just
said
kind
you
of
had
like,
something.
Well, speaking of basketball, yeah, I just want to switch gears a little bit. You know, we have some real serious talks here, but what you think about the direction of your Pistons, man? What's going on with your Pistons?
Woo.
I mean, I
man,
know
okay,
that it's
Kind of
probably
quiet. Now hold on.
listen,
Cease, before you go, I
listen.
got to give you a disclaimer, Cease. I don't want you to get caught off guard now. I'm a resident Cavalier fan. And this ain't no LeBron thing. This go back to Mark
Yeah,
Price and Ron Harper. So I noticed since
listen.
my guys showed up, we've been dusting y'all off. I think we ended your championship run, if I can remember correctly. And it looked like you've been kind of struggling since then, man. Like Dre said,
Listen.
man, what's the plan to get the Pistons back on the right track? Because I don't hear no more Detroit basketball.
yeah. What the bad boys at, man? What's going on?
Well, first of all, okay, two things. One, we suck. We've been sucked, and we're gonna continue to suck. Um, the Pistons just are trash. Like the organization is ran like shit. They play like shit. Um, I don't know what to tell you. I am not the biggest Pistons fan. I will acknowledge like Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards ever. Bad Boy Pistons, one of the greatest teams ever. Doesn't necessarily make me a fan of theirs. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and how we won that championship in 04, I don't know. But yeah, like I'm not the
They had a
biggest Pistons
squad.
fan. Like,
I got some things, but we'll go ahead.
yeah, the Pistons. I never been the biggest Pistons fan. Like, I'm not the homer for my home teams. Like the Pistons are just, I don't know. And just real quick on Isaiah Thomas, I'm a big fan of Isaiah Thomas. I'm gonna need him to stop crying about Michael Jordan every chance he gets to do an interview.
Oh my goodness.
You sound like a good, like
Thank you
real
for
talk.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but you sounding like a bitch right now. Like, well, I want him to apologize. He's not If he ain't apologized in 40 years, he's not apologizing now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what you want from him, or I know what you want from him. You're not getting it. Make peace with that. Like, you don't hear
Mhm.
Bill Laimbeer like, I don't know why Michael Jordan want to apologize. Bill Laimbeer like, yo, we kicked his ass for 2 years or longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wears that shit as a badge of honor. You see the same thing with Rick Mahorn. You see the same thing with everybody else. Isaiah Thomas, the only dude out here. Well, I used to let him sleep on my couch. Shut up. You know, stop. Like, I'm losing respect for you. Like, you out here begging another man for an apology. Like, he ain't giving it to you. He called you an asshole on
No.
national TV. You think, dude, if he ain't got over that shit, now he's never getting over it. It's Michael fucking Jordan. Yeah, there is no incentive for him to apologize to you. Well, you and Magic, there was a friendship there before y'all fell out, so there was an incentive for that. Y'all ain't never been friends. Y'all were acquaintances
Now,
at best. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Stop. You are one of the greatest point guards of all time. You were the leader of one of the greatest championship teams of all time. I still remember this dude dropping 25 in one quarter on a bad ankle. But
Sure did.
you keep doing
Against
these
my Lake
interviews.
In LA.
You keep doing these interviews. You are going to be more known for being this whiny, bitchy ass player instead of for that greatness. Stop. Next time you do an interview with somebody brings up Michael Jordan, just be like, I said what I've had to say already. Next question, please.
So what about your Lions? You're not excited about your Lions? I mean,
I'm
hey, they're on a trajectory now.
excited. I am excited. Now, I will say this. Once again, to quote Whoopi Goldberg from The Color Purple, until you do right by me, for the longest time, I've had my heart broken too many times with the Lions for me to continue giving them my heart. So I was like, look, until y'all give me a reason to get excited, I'm going to just play it safe and just wait and see. And sure as shit, they got to the playoffs, won a couple games. Not too happy about how they lost that last one. But you know what? it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, they're able to capitalize and build on that next year. I will say this: how we made it to the Super Bowl, I think we would have won. But
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I believe so too. That they believe in that coach, man.
Yeah, damn.
Oh,
They
for
believe
sure.
in him.
Playing, man.
They
Oh my
gamble, yeah,
goodness, they'll run through a wall for him, man.
Yo, man,
for
They
sure.
put him.
this I got to say this real quick. So, two things. Number one, you sound like Ha Davis, man. Shout out to Ha. He's from Michigan. He's from Detroit as well. He always been
Yeah.
saying that about the Lions. And number two, I kind of saw this like when you watched them on Hard Knocks, they believed in Dan Campbell. They feel like he was one of them. So it was really cool
Yeah.
to see y'all's level of success. You know, me and Dre are hardcore Falcons fans, but it was dope. I really wanted y'all to make it and hope y'all, you know, if we're not gonna be there, hopefully y'all be there.
Yeah, I think it would have been. I mean, man, I'm telling. I will say this: if the Lions ever win the Super Bowl, man, they might as well just shut the city down because it's gonna be just. It's gonna, man. We just gonna celebrate like crazy. Nobody's going to work. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, every job in the area knows nobody's coming in the next day or the day after that. Like, just make peace with that. Everything is going to shut down in Detroit. There's going to be no buses, no ambulances. Hospitals will close. Nobody's going to work because they will all be out just, recuperating from celebrating that Super Bowl win. It will be the craziest. Like, the only thing that I could think that would be close to that is like the Boston Red Sox when they finally like won after they had beat the Yankees. So, yeah.
Yeah, after decades, yeah, that was big.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know, man. 2016 was pretty close, bro. I flew back from Atlanta to go to the parade, and it was the craziest thing I ever seen. I ain't even know that many people lived in Cleveland, cared about Cleveland, knew where Cleveland was. I ain't even know it was that many people in the Northeast Ohio area, and it was crazy.
In all fairness, y'all ain't got nothing else to do in Cleveland, so I mean.
Oh man, don't be no hater, man. Come on, cut it out, man.
I'm just saying.
See, that's why we be saying the Ohio State every time we see y'all, man.
Listen.
Come on, man.
Listen.
Let's talk about it.
I don't trust no city with one McDonald's.
Hey, man. Hey, I just know one thing. I know this guy that wore number 23 came to your house and put 47 on y'all and ended the Bad Boys. I ain't seen no. It's been an APB out for the Pistons ever since then. I don't know where they at, man. I'm still looking for them. I still don't know where they at.
Yeah.
I just know we had a crazy parade.
And that same guy got shut down by JJ Barea.
Hey,
I'm gonna say. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he did.
I'm just saying, dude.
And in all fairness, though, I do want to see y'all win something, and it's dope to see the Cavs be good with outside of LeBron. You know, it's a real good thing, and I'm happy for the Lions straight up.
No, I'm happy for the Cavs too, though. I mean, I'm glad. Like the only sport that I am diehard into is college football, and the only team that I would live and die for is the Michigan Wolverines. That is the only team.
I seen you in Jumpman. I seen y'all. Y'all be geared up with your Michigan. I seen it now. See the picture.
I am maize and blue all day, every day. Damn near everybody in my family went to Michigan except me. So yeah, I am Michigan through and through. I was raised on that shit. That's the only team that I will live and die for. And we got that championship. So yeah, I'm good, man. Shout out to Harbaugh.
How do you feel about the coach league?
I mean, it is what it is. I can't listen. Who am I to tell somebody not to live our daydream? You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, he's coached the NFL before though, so this is not. It was very successful in it, mind you.
Facts.
No, but I mean, he didn't get that Super Bowl though.
He did.
True.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so to be the championship
right
coach,
there knocking.
Yeah, championship coach of a Super Bowl team, I can only imagine how great that would feel. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, to me personally, winning the Super Bowl is probably the hardest thing to do in sports. You know what I'm saying? So for me, and the second one, I mean, I would say it's a tie, is winning the Stanley Cup. Because I think people undervalue how hard it is to play hockey. But
super hard, bro.
Yeah.
Being a Midwest kid like yourself, I played hockey as a little kid. It's something we do.
Yeah.
It is very underappreciated. It's a super hard skill to be backwards, forwards, the stick in your hand.
Hockey is
It's a truly difficult sport, and you got to be a rugged dude too because you're gonna get touched.
right.
So
Right, like, dude, it's a physical. Like, they actually throw hands. You know what I'm
yeah, they
saying?
throw
Like, they
hands
actually
on
throw
the
hands,
regular.
and you gotta have skill. Like, you gotta skate. You gotta know how to skate and handle a puck. You know, listen, hockey. Say what you want to, man. Like, honestly, that's probably gonna be the next sport that we take over, right? Like, because I swear, like, hockey is actually fun. Like, but that's not. There's no hockey rinks in the hood, so you know what I'm saying. So
No,
there's plenty of basketball courts and open fields. Um, so yeah, but like, I mean, I've even lost my love for basketball because it's I don't know what the fuck it is now. It's the most boring
No
product to watch.
defense. So,
speaking of that, man,
Uh,
how was
can't
it for
watch
you
full game.
watching the All-Star game, man? Because that was
I
like,
didn't.
Oh,
I didn't.
I'm like, yo,
I
and
didn't.
this is my problem with the NBA. Like, I, I, I love the game of basketball. I think all three of us do. All four of us do. My issue is to watch dudes, and they just showed it the other day. The Cavs were playing the Bulls, and you see Carter go up. He has a layup and throws it out for a three. I'm like, who turns down an open layup for a three? What are we doing?
yeah.
Who wants to watch
Because
dudes jack up three?
that's what basketball has devolved to. Players love to tell you how the game has changed, not for the better. Not for the fucking better. And that ain't the first time I've seen that shit. I've seen a 3-on-1 fast break where they pulling up for threes.
It's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying?
Yeah.
So the
It's
game is
crazy.
basically devolved into a 3-point shooting contest.
Yep.
And the game, it used to be multifaceted because you had your guards, you had your small forwards, you had your post players. You know what I'm saying?
And your
Each one of them brought a
specialist.
skill set. Yeah, you had your special in the skill set, but now we got these hybrid players, and everybody, most of these hybrid players aren't really that good. Like, name me? You could probably on one hand name players who can hit a consistent mid-range jump shot. You know what I'm
Jimmy
saying?
Butler,
many
DeMar
Like
DeRozan.
the post
Yeah.
game is obsolete. Besides Jokic and like Embiid, that position is pretty much obsolete. The game is just so one dimensional now. And these players, somebody said it the other day, like it was all about power and player empowerment, but they were in it for themselves. They didn't leave anything for the next generation. And what I see from this generation as opposed to past generations, it wasn't about the money, it was about legacy. It was about greatness, right? Like, George Mikan set the bar. So then Bill Russell came in and set that bar. Then Wilt Chamberlain, and they battled back and forth and stuff. And then, Dr. J set the bar. Then you had Michael Jordan. Then you had a Kobe Bryant. And like each one of them looked to that person as far as where to measure their greatness. And a lot of these players now, once again, they want to do like the bare minimum. Like, now we got makeup stats now. Like first person to score 20 points in church socks. That's not a fucking stat. That's not a stat. That's just something you made up to create a conversation. Like these sports shows, they a disservice to the game because they like damn near every day. Who's better, LeBron? They have this argument every other day for like the last decade. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
and what kill and this is the thing that you don't see in any other sport but basketball. The way they disparage the players that came before them. You got JJ
Facts.
Redick calling people plumbers and all this other shit. You know why they were plumbers? Because they weren't making the fucking money that you were making. They had to supplement their income, right? Because they weren't making money. They had to supplement their income with second jobs. They didn't have all the things you got. You got guys at the end of the bench making, millions of dollars.
20.
You know what I'm saying? Look how much Michael Jordan was paid for the majority of his career. Right? So people act like the league started when they started playing. Right? A lot of the league started, and a lot of players, it's been built. Every generation came in and built upon the foundation that the previous generation built on. right? So all these players making all this money now, you need to think every single player that played before you and put in their blood, sweat, and tears so that you could come in and make a name for yourself. And I'm getting real tired of seeing people like JJ Redick and all this other shit talk shit about past players. Well, they couldn't do this, they
Right.
couldn't do that. Oh, if I went, I love this argument. Well, if I went back in the 60s, I'd be doing this. No. Let's have a real conversation. Don't just say, take you now and put you back in the 60s. No, let's put you back in the 60s with only the medicine that they had back then, with all the technology they had back then. Because just look at the sneakers. They was doing that shit in Chuck Taylors, canvas and leather. They was dunking up the gym in those shoes. You got shoes now, double stack zoom, all the different cushioning, boost, and all this other shit. Look at the compression tights that they got now to kind of help. Remember back in the day, an Achilles injury was a career killer. Now you can come back from that.
You remember Dominique Wilkins? He was like one of the first guys to actually come back after that, because it was a career killer for
that was a career killer.
Isaiah, yeah.
So all the different advancements that they get to enjoy now that help evolve the game. And let's not forget too that part of evolution is seeing what somebody did before you and taking that to the next level. But you have the benefit of seeing it. Case in point, the dunk contest, right? You look at the first dunk contest, it looks benign compared to the shit that we're looking at now, right? That's because we've seen that, right? But go back. The first 360, that had to fucking floor people because they've never seen that before. Yeah, but once you've seen enough 360s, it no longer excites you. So now you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like looking at a black and white TV and being like, "Oh, that ain't shit." Yeah, because you got plasma and I mean not plasma and shit. Even that's old, but you got HD TVs now, right? So yeah, it's easy to look at a black and white TV now and say that ain't shit. But go back to the 1920s when that bitch first came out. That shit changed the fucking world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but when you don't have the historical context, it's easy to shit on things that came before you.
Facts. But speaking of historical context, this is a guy I think never gets no credit. Drake can speak on this real quick. That guy, Jerry Clutch West. It's a guy that people never talk about when they talk about great Lakers. He's like one of my favorites, and I feel like, why does this man not get no credit? He's a straight up dog. He was a killer. And this guy's out here putting 40 points with no 3-point line.
Because he kept losing to the Celtics.
Bro, but he got there, though, and he did beat them eventually.
The worst thing the NBA ever did, was get rid of NBA. What was it? NBA Classic TV. When they used to play the old games, they used to play the old games, and you could see the games, not just hear about it, not just catch a snippet of it, but actually watch the games. It gave you an appreciation for what the game was back then. But for budget cuts or whatever, they got rid of that shit. This is why kids growing up now thinking the NBA started with Magic Johnson. The league was,
gosh.
You know what I'm saying? When they talk about basketball, it's like the 80s on forward. They don't talk about, they might mention Bill Russell. They might mention Wilt Chamberlain. Even Oscar Robertson, which I think there's an ulterior reason why they don't mention Oscar Robertson, because he was the one that organized the union within the NBA.
Right.
And I think they've always held that against them. But there's other, Walt Frazier, Bob Cousy, Pistol Pete Maravich.
Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete, Dr. J,
there's a lot of
George Gervin,
Dr. J gets talked about like an afterthought. Dr. J has one of the coldest moves I've ever seen in NBA history.
We came from the side.
He went around. Dude went on one side, went out of bounds, came back, bro.
Yeah,
that was in the early 1980s, late 1970s.
Yep. Yeah, he did it to Coop.
Okay,
he did the Coop.
Man,
so Mike the Expert,
come on,
I know,
man.
Talking about changing the game, and we talking about greatness. Mike, I know you had a question for Cease about greatness as far as some of his top great moments or great things that he would put in a top 5. Because I know, Cease, you got the top 5 on your show. So we call a little bit different over here. So Mike, expert, I'm gonna throw it to you. I know you got a couple top fives for my man C's.
Yeah, well, shoot, what are your top 5 sneakers?
I'm okay. Am I doing just silhouettes or am I doing colorways too?
Anything like your top 5. You can only have these 5 sneakers.
Yeah.
These your 5. This all you get to keep out your collection. These 5 sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
So specific colorways there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you get what I'm saying? Because like a silhouette itself can be important.
All right, so
but then
you can give me a silhouette. You can give me a silhouette if you want to add a colorway to it. It's all good. But silhouette, let's make it a little easier.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you the top 5 silhouettes, but then I'm gonna give you my favorite colorway of that silhouette.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
That's cool. Okay. Starting at number
that's what's
5,
up.
off the top of my head, the Nike Air Foamposite. That shoe,
Ooh,
when it first fucking came out, was
game
fucking
changer.
crazy. I remember seeing that shoe for the first time, and I was like, yo, like that shit.
Shout
and
out to one Hardaway.
Yes. Listen, that shoe stood out then, and it continues to stand out now. You ain't never seen nothing like it. So out of the colorways for that shoe, I'm gonna say the Royals. However, when Nike dropped those mirror Foamposites, it was the sexiest sneaker I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Zach LaVine rocked that.
The only problem was that shit flaked off. If they could find a way to drop that shit again where it doesn't flake off, that would be the greatest sneaker of all time to me. That shoe is so fucking gorgeous. And I had a pair, and I ended up getting rid of them because they flaked, and I just couldn't stand to watch it deteriorate. The next shoe, I'm gonna say number 4 for me would be the Reebok Question, because I remember when that shit first came out, and the craziness for that shoe. That shit was ridiculous.
Hold on 1 second. When you get a minute, because this is directed at Dre. Dre is a Reebok hater. He don't like the Question. But when you get a minute, you will see how much I love the Reebok Question as it was on feet today. Man. I had the Nuggets on today. It's a dope shoe, man.
Well, listen, the Reebok, man. Listen,
Kobe Bean Bryant wore it. There you go. That's enough said, right?
I'm gonna tell you this. I was around in '96, and I remember we got in Detroit. We got an accidental shipment because the Red Toes only dropped in Philly and maybe somewhere else. They had an accidental shipment come here in Detroit. They shut the mall down for that shit. The Reebok, man, listen, y'all, listen. Reebok Questions, they was it. As far as debut
so let me ask you, if you loving the Question,
that was up there.
Is the Michigan? Well, okay, then you wouldn't like the Michigan State version. Then that's not on your list, huh?
Fuck no. That's the only colorway I won't touch. I won't touch anything Michigan State. Michigan State or Ohio State. I'm not touching. I don't care. Say what you want to. Argue with your mama. But as far as like colorways, man, the original Blue Toes, man, because they had that like iridescent like sheen. Oh man, those bitches were so fucking beautiful. Man, that was so beautiful. Number 3. Shit. Number 3. Man. And mind you, this ain't in no particular order. I'm not ranking them. I'm just
I don't got to be in
no
order. It's not order. It's not an order thing. Yeah. It's a love thing.
Yeah. But number 3, whoo boy. I'm gonna go with man. There's so many ways I can go with this. I'm gonna go with the Air Max 1. Because there's literally no wrong way to wear that shit. Like, a pair of Air Max 1s, not only are them bitches comfortable, but they look dope as fuck. You ain't even got to run in them. You can just walk around them and still look like $1 million. Like, Air Max 1s are just, God, they so clean. And don't let a dope colorway come out. See? You got a dope colorway of some Air Max 1s? Woo, boy. Yeah, you cooking with some grease. Shit, number 2. You know what? I know this is gonna sound cliche, but I gotta fucking say. Actually, man, I'm stuck between 2 because Mm-hmm. You know, I gotta say it. Fuck it. The 11s. The 11s are just.
I
Come
knew it.
on, come on,
They
come on. Talk to me now.
listen, man.
Talk to me.
Listen,
Hey,
I know.
What did you say cliche? I knew where you was going. I
Yeah.
knew where you was going.
Yeah,
talk.
cause it's
Hey,
like, but there's a
please,
reason why
that's
they're cliche.
that's my
I
number
knew it.
one. Dre be on me all the
Since
time
I-
because I literally have almost every colorway of every 11 in a high and a low. I got every OG in high and low.
I knew it.
I
knew
all
it.
of them. I love the 11.
I just knew. I just seen the 11 percolate in your head. I say, watch it say 11. Watch.
No, because
I knew
the
it.
11s, man, I'm telling you, you talk about game changers. Them shits came out of left field too. Nobody saw them bitches coming, right? And Jordan,
Yeah, nobody.
here's the thing: Nike lulled us into like a false sense of like, I don't know, because you know you got the 9s, you got the 10s. It's like okay, and then boom, the 11s. It's like yo, whoa, where they come from? And it's like yeah, those are even now like yeah, they kind of beat them to death. So it's like you know. It's hard to appreciate what they were, but man, and once again, I was alive at this time, so like I can remember,
Bro,
you
you
know what I'm
remember seeing
saying, like
Mike
what
wear
that
that?
was like.
You remember Mike wearing that
See,
against
here's the funny
Orlando?
part.
You like, what was he wearing? You
I
like, what
remember
is he
seeing,
wearing? What is that?
I remember seeing Ahmad Rashad wear them first because he did that interview on the sideline, like yo, like, and then number one, and I know this is gonna sound cliche too, but the Air Jordan 3, like that shoe literally saved Nike. Like, I don't know if people appreciate how dangerously close Nike was about to lose Michael Jordan after the Air Jordan 2. And Tinker Hatfield went in his bag and pulled that bitch out. And everything about that shoe is, to this day, one of the hardest sneakers. Like, I could put on some Air Jordan 3s, and it don't matter what the fuck else I put on. I could have the bummiest outfit, but them 3s are going to look hard. Especially that white cement colorway. Man. Ooh, boy. The threes are just fucking to me, one of the best basketball sneakers of all time. Like, it's like when you talk about impact, style, design, like it literally touches all those bases. And there's not many sneakers that can say they do that. You might have some sneakers that are great performance sneakers, but they look like shit. You might have some shoes that look great, but feel like shit.
Right.
Threes, and like I said, the fact that it literally saved Nike and helped it become the company that it became, how could you not put the Air Jordan 3 in your top 5? So, yeah,
Dog,
that's where
every
I'm at.
original colorway is like a game changer. There's no wrong answer when you talking about the OG colorways, whether it's the red, the
It
blue,
really ain't.
the black cement, the white cement. This was crazy. This just show you how much the shoe is loved. You saw Kobe wear it in his sneaker free agency. Then you see MJ wear it when he playing for the Wizards. He bring it back and put it right back on. And like, yeah, man, that's a grail right there.
Yeah.
Blues.
And here's the thing, though. When they actually do put the polyurethane midsole or insole in there, those bitches still comfortable. Like, you know what I'm saying? What they have in 1980s technology, them bitches are still comfortable. So it's like, because I'm looking at my shoe wall now, and it's like,
You're not that comfortable to me though.
Threes?
Yeah, it's
I don't
not
have
that
any
comfortable
problem
to
with the
me.
threes. The threes I never had an issue with. Never had
I
an
gotta
issue
go like
with.
a half size.
Now, there are other shoes that I thought were dope. Like I would say this. Even though he didn't have a lot of shoes in his line, like they stopped. Penny has no misses in his signature line.
None.
He has no misses, man. Like Penny shit.
You see it? Hold on.
1 through 6, man. Banger.
You see it? You see it
Yep.
right here? You see it?
I see it. Man, listen, Penny, man, he had no misses. I struggle to think.
This guy ain't had no
wish
misses
they
either.
need to drop
He ain't
the-
had no misses either. He ain't had no misses either.
Oh,
Bo
yeah,
ain't had no
Bo.
misses.
Yeah. Listen, if anybody from Nike is watching this, I need y'all to drop the white and royal blue penny threes. I need those. I need those like right now. Like them had to be, dude. Penny had one of the best lines. And honestly, if you put me in a room where I got to pick a Penny or a Jordan, I'm gonna have a hard time.
Hey, I'm gonna give y'all this little short story real quick. So I worked for a company at the time, no names please, but we actually had an opportunity to go to see Inside the NBA and watch them film the show, right? So we meet Shaq and Kenny, and it was dope, bro. It was dope. So of course I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
I'll pull up on the show with the Air Max Barkley 180, the Olympic joints, right? Shaq, like, what are those on my feet? So cool thing that I'm sitting here chopping up with Shaq before they tape the show. And I'm like, yo, man, just be honest with me, man. You play with Bron, you play with Wade, you play with Penny, you play with Cole. In their prime, if none of these guys get hurt, who's that guy out of the four of them? He quickly said Penny. He said, I stay in Orlando and Penny never gets hurt. I don't know if the Bulls three-peat again. And I got to be honest with him. I'm like, he might kind of be telling the truth, man. Because Penny was that guy before he got hurt, man.
No, for sure. I mean, I could kind of see that, but I mean, here's the thing, though. It's like,
go ahead, Dre. You got something to say? Go ahead. What you got to say, Dre?
I mean, I'm just saying, Shaq. You already knew Shaq was gonna say Penny, man. You know he was gonna go against the grain. You know, him and Kobe's had their moments, and, for the good and the bad. But whatever.
Yeah, Penny was great, but Kobe.
I don't know.
You don't agree if Penny doesn't get hurt that he can. I mean, you don't think that he matches Kobe Bryant. He don't get hurt.
Because even at his best before the injuries, he didn't have that dog in him like Kobe had. Not to say he had no dog in him at all, but Kobe was like, you could tell Kobe was going to kill himself
the game scoring and passing though. Mike,
mentality.
You don't agree with me, Mike, the expert? Penny controlled the game scoring and passing and playing defense.
Penny did his thing, but I can't put him up there with Kobe though. Like Kobe was just like.
Sorry.
Yeah, come on, man.
Because Kobe had that drive. Like Penny kind of seemed like, let's just say that Penny didn't have any drive either. But like, there's Penny, and then there's like Kobe. Kobe looked like the type of dude that will pass out in a gym, working on his game because he's trying to be better than everybody else. Where Penny is like, all right, I did my 2 hours, I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like Kobe he was just built different. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the only person you could really compare Kobe to is Michael Jordan.
That's it.
So see, the guy to play for your Pistons and Mike the expert, what you think, man? He don't get hurt. You don't think he reaches that next level? Grant Hill. He don't get hurt.
No.
He stays that same guy he was in with the Pistons and gets better.
Grant Hill would have been great, just like he was at that time. He would have been great, but I still don't put him up there like with Michael Jordan.
They was calling the next MJ. He was the next MJ.
They called Harold Miner the next MJ. That don't mean the next MJ.
They called Ron Harper the next MJ.
Yeah.
He was until his knees went out.
They did say that. They did say that about Ron.
Ron was that dude until his knees went out.
Listen, no, Ron Harper was.
Y'all gotta agree with me. But if Ron don't get traded, we could beat the Bulls. If Ron don't get traded, we could beat the Bulls.
Listen, Ron Harper was nice, but he was not Michael Jordan, bro.
He was very nice.
Hey, MJ said he didn't like going up against him. He said Ron could give him the business, and Ron could guard him.
Ron was nowhere near Michael Jordan. He was a real good player.
Yeah,
but he wasn't nowhere near.
All right, so what about Grant Hill?
I can imagine Grant Hill though, because I think people forget about Grant Hill. Grant Hill was nasty, but
he was.
Here's the thing: he was also light skinned, so I don't know how far he would have took. I just got to think about light skinned dudes. Be like, I don't know, man. The only light skinned dude that actually came in through the clutch was Muhammad Ali. But he's the only one, like, honest, in history. He's the outlier.
Man, I'm sure if we think of something, it'll be some other ones. But Dre, I know you got something for C's. You got another top five. Well, I guess it's five. We're going to say five because normally four. But I know you got something when we talk about just legends from Michigan. Dre, what you got for C's on that, man?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, man, who's your top five Michigan athletes of all time? They could be in college, pros, just Michigan players.
Top
who's
five,
your
top
favorite?
four.
You're 5.
Top-
Normally
we'll
Mount
do
Rushmore got 4, but we're gonna give him 5.
Well, yeah, we're doing a Mark Rushmore,
We'll do
so
5
yes, he gonna do 5.
in no particular order. Chris Webber,
I like that.
Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
You got to say Tom Brady. Like, I mean, how could you not?
Okay.
Mhm.
You got 2.
Fuck. Man, this is hard.
Come on now.
You got 2.
Come on.
You got 2. One of
Come on,
them
man.
you
You
can't
gotta
skip.
make
There's one guy you can't skip. There's a guy you cannot
Barry
skip.
Sanders.
You can't.
Okay,
I'm gonna
that's
say
what I
Barry
was saying.
Sanders.
Okay.
Who's
then-
out of here? What was that?
He said Barry Sanders.
Okay, all right, there we go. I'm good now.
And then, like I wasn't going in order. I was just going to, trying to think of.
Yeah.
Shit. And then, man, after that,
Dennis Rodman.
damn. Shit. What I say, Dennis?
I mean, got 2 titles there.
Yeah, but you can say Joe Dumars.
Yeah.
You can say Benny. I mean, this Joe. I would say Joe or Grant Hill before I say Dennis. And I love Dennis, but I would say
Or you
Oh
could
shit,
say
Magic.
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 Okay. All right.
Magic.
Hey, I'm
Magic.
gonna give you 2 that you left off your list, man. Well, I'm gonna get 1. Cecil Fielder. You didn't name any baseball players, but
When I tell you I was thinking about Cecil Fielder, I swear to God, in my head, because people forget about Cecil Fielder. I was thinking about Cecil Fielder. I swear to God I was. But I don't know if I would put him over anybody I named.
yeah, you got Jalen Rose. I mean, you don't put on for the
Shoot,
team.
what about Megatron? What about
Megatron?
Megatron?
Ronnie Howe. If you a
Still
hockey guy?
Here's why. Here's why I wouldn't. Because the players I named either had some type of cultural impact or actual tangible impact in the game, whether it was in college or whether it was in pro.
Mountain.
Exactly. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Chris Webber, Fab 5. He was the best player on that team. Bo Jackson. Barry Sanders. I mean, dude, arguably the greatest running back.
Enough said.
Right.
Enough said.
Tom Brady. I mean, really. GOAT QB. Magic Johnson.
GOAT.
Isaiah Thomas.
Greatness.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, who am I replacing to put Jalen Rose or Cecil Fielder in? No disrespect.
You know something? Me and Mike the expert be having this conversation all the time. We be talking about top 5 point guards, and me and him always go back to Isaiah gets so forgotten. We talk about masters of the crossover. Yeah. We talk about, White Chocolate. We talk about Allen Iverson, Kyrie, Rod Strickland, but they be forgetting Isaiah. They talk about Tim Hardaway, but Isaiah had that crossover. Didn't he, Mike the expert?
Yeah. Isaiah was the man. I hate that people, they talk about the best point guards and they leave them out, or, I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 best point guards to ever play the game.
Agree.
But people leave him out.
Agree. Because once again, because the problem is people look at stat sheets and but it's like, yo, there's intangibles. If there's watching the stat sheet and there's watching the game. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Isaiah Thomas had that. You talking about somebody had that dog in him? Isaiah Thomas was a monster on the court. Problem is, he's been running about Michael Jordan for the last 30 years, and so people forget about what he's been doing on the court. So, yeah.
But listen, Jordan said Isaiah was the second best point guard to ever play the game.
I agree.
Yes, he did.
He said Magic, and then he said Isaiah.
Yep.
I agree.
And I agree with that.
Magic won, though. Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Magic won. I mean, come on now. Magic was just, you got a nickname Magic. You doing something on the court. But Isaiah,
incredible.
Dude. Isaiah was, Isaiah was nice. And that's why I wish he would stop all this bitching and complaining. It's like, yo, let us appreciate the player you were and not this
Facts.
whatever
That's
you
just
are
like
now.
when you look at them
You
New
know?
York guys, that's why they give Mark Jackson props. He don't complain. Mark Jackson was a dog. You know, somebody that's very underrated. John Stockton was a dog. You know, you never hear nobody say he wasn't. Is he a top 5 point guard?
Yeah.
Easy. That man was a dog. He played every game.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna give it to you on offense and defense. You're gonna have to beat him. He won't gonna let you have it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And you know, and that this is why I wish these players and even the league did more of appreciating those old players as well as educating this generation on who these players were and not just leaving it to some pundit on TV to, you know, dismiss their careers to elevate current players now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I hate that people do this shit too. You know, older players be talking shit. They paid their dues. They paid their dues.
Yeah.
They are in perfect position to say whatever the fuck it is they want to say because they have paid their dues. They have paved the road for these current players to come in, make the money they make, play the game they want to play. They get to. It's almost like somebody that, you know, fought in World War II shitting on a new generation. You ain't got to like what they say, but you got to respect them. You got to respect them. They paid their dues, bro. You know what I'm saying? So listen. And I grew up in that type of culture where it's like, look, I ain't gotta like what somebody said, but you know what? I respect the fact that you paid your dues and you are now in a position to critique what it is that I'm doing. Don't have to agree, but I respect you.
Well, man, we talk about paying dues and respect, man. We just want to give you all the respect, man, because like, yo, we appreciate you doing this. You an OG in the game. You know, you and your team and Jumpman, Sneaker Girl, your whole team, y'all paid a way for all of us to kind of come on here and be able to do this thing on the podcast level with sneakers. So we appreciate you. Salute, shout out. We appreciate you coming on and showing us love. I appreciate you pulling up on us at SneakerCon. Hey, you made our day. We like, yo, man, my guy did an interview. You wouldn't believe it, man. We got back to the crib and we was like, yo, we met Jumpman Bostic, we met Afrikan, we met, you know, we had already known Mike Rich and T Ward, but you know, we was like, yo, we met Mike Compass, we met George Kill. Like, we sitting here going crazy, man. Like, we going through everybody we met. And I just want to say thank you, man. A lot of guys, they feel like they too big for this to come through and holler. But we appreciate you coming through, man. And we love to have you on again, bro. Hey, man, we'll catch you in the next one. Y'all continue to like, share, subscribe. We really appreciate you, C's. Again, all your flowers and love, dog. You've been putting this thing down for a long time. We appreciate everybody, man. And we got love for all the family in the D. You know, Sneaker Girl, Jumpman Bostic, your whole crew, man. Tell them we said what's good. Hey, man, we'll see you next time.